there's overcrowded. Then there's Gitarama prison, where men stood in sewage for months, where infections devoured flesh, and where the dead were eaten by the living. Because there was no food left, this isn't a nightmare, it's history. In Rwanda, during the aftermath of genocide, there was a place so vile, so overcrowded, that it redefined what the word prison meant. Its name was Gitarama, a facility built to hold 500 people. By the time it collapsed into infamy, it was holding more than 7,000. The floor was mud, the air rot, the toilets non-existent. There were no beds, no cells, just bodies, packed shoulder to shoulder, chest to back, wall to wall. They stood in sewage for weeks. Some developed foot infections that ate through the skin and into the bone. Flesh peeled, legs blackened. The stench made grown men cry. One survivor said, "I didn't walk for 6 months. I stood in the same spot, sleeping upright like an animal." But standing was a luxury. If you fell, you might never get back up. Inmates too weak to remain on their feet collapsed and were trampled. Some suffocated, some bled out, and when they died, no one moved the body. There were no guards dragging corpses, no orderlies, no priests, just the slow, wet sound of decomposition. And here's the part most people don't believe, but it happened. Some inmates ate the dead, not because they were monsters, because they were starving. Gitarama had no kitchen, no regular meal schedule. Food came once, maybe twice a week, and when it did, it was dropped into the yard like trash, a bag of beans for thousands. Men fought, men died. If you were too slow, you didn't eat, and if you didn't eat, you rotted while still breathing. Some tore cloth from dead bodies and ate it soaked in water, hoping it might trick the stomach. Others collected insects, rat droppings, rotting shoes. But the desperate, they stripped the dead. Muscle, fat, anything that hadn't decayed yet. One man whispered, "You don't remember it as a crime. You remember it as survival." The guards? They stood outside. They didn't enter. Why would they? Disease, violence, death. It was safer to let the prisoners destroy themselves. If you screamed in Gitarama, no one heard. If you begged, no one came. And if you died, you were useful. Your body became someone else's hope. The Rwandan government denied the reports for years. When journalists finally entered, they saw men with rotted legs, black feet, bones exposed. Some inmates had shoes sewn to their ankles to hide the infection, because taking them off meant watching your flesh fall apart. Even amputations happened without anesthesia. A hacksaw, a belt to bite, and screaming until your throat gave out. No doctors, no medicine, no names, just 7,000 souls waiting to die. Eventually, under international pressure, Gitarama was shut down. But by then, hundreds were dead. Some were buried in mass graves, others simply vanished. There's no statue, no memorial, just a name whispered by survivors who don't sleep through the night. Gitarama, the prison that proved hell is not a myth. It was real. And it smelled like rot, sounded like crying, and looked like a man chewing flesh. To survive. If this story disturbed you, good. Because silence keeps places like Gitarama hidden. Hit like, share this, subscribe for next week's story. Where a child prisoner took 20 years to see the sky again. No Way Out continues